Okay, Star Wars Acolyte,
Boy,
episode 3.
you're a lot
Hello.
you're happier than I am. At least you're doing the trumpet.
Well, I don't mistake the trumpet for happiness. But,
Also said it is June. It's allergy season. I have looked with my eyes, man. Oh my god.
I
I hate
can't believe
allergies.
it's June already, and I was
Actually halfway through June.
expecting to
Hey Leroy.
have a. I'm not going to wear my hat. Makes me look old. I was expecting to have a summer of happiness lined up with what I thought was the new love of my life, and
jeez.
Unfortunately, the luck of the lance prevailed, as in no luck at all.
What better way to be depressed than them have them go right into Star Wars?
Well, obviously, I thought, let me cheer myself up by watching The Acolyte. This is definitely the way to heal my heart, in the words of Phil Collins. So we got 7 people watching. Thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. There are lots of streams about The Acolyte happening right now, so I appreciate you coming to this one.
It's a hot topic right now, in case people
didn't know. It's a hot topic. I feel like we need to do it in the early hours of Tuesday morning if we're going to be ahead of the curve. Sure. I mean, okay, so just going to caveat my review as follows, as per usual. Yes, I am a white male who saw Star Wars in the 1970s. No, I don't look back at the series with rose-tinted glasses and hate all Star Wars that's come out in recent years. No, there is some Star Wars I've quite liked in the last 10 years. I actually particularly like the animated stuff. The Clone Wars was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't mind the Bad Batch. Bad Batch is okay. Bad Batch is fine. It's a good concept. It's a good story. I like the idea of clones, a unit of clones not getting Order 66. I think that's a really good story.
Yeah, I agree.
You could do a great Dirty Dozen kind of rip-off movie with like 12 clones going on like a do or die mission to try and save the New Republic. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're diverging a bit. I also, of the television efforts, what have we had? We've had Mandalorian 3 seasons.
Yep, and then also translating to Book of Boba Fett had 1 season.
Okay, well, let's do this one at a time. Mandalorian had 3 seasons. Yep. Really enjoyed first season of Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Second season of Mandalorian was good. Third season of Mandalorian was average to poor, depending on the episodes.
Yeah.
Then we had Book of Boba Fett, straight out poor.
Yes, very.
That was nonsense.
Yeah.
We had Obi-Wan, also poor.
Yeah.
Retconned a few things, just didn't agree with lots of the narrative decisions. Overall, it was pretty bad. The best thing about it was Ewan McGregor. We had Ahsoka was the show actually I thought was going to really pick it up again for me. And I'm a big fan of Rosario Dawson. Rosario, I am single if you're watching.
And she's a good actress.
I've followed her career since she did Larry Clark's Kids. Actually, I saw that at a screening at a crime film festival or something. I forget. And it was like the first screening of it in the UK. And I followed all those actors. I thought, wow, there's some really amazing actors in this that are like proper. How young are these people? You know, they're really good, but I think they're all basically playing themselves at the time. So then, so Ahsoka was kind of had some good moments, but it also had a lot of tosh. So Ahsoka weren't great. What else we had? We had Andor. Andor was good for the most part. Bit different. Some things in it were a bit silly, but overall it was pretty good. What else have we had? Is that it?
That's it, yeah. And now the Acolyte.
So we've had one strong show that had a poor third season. I could get into all kinds of reasons why the third season was poor. One pretty decent show that was different, that was too slow for some people. And then and then we've had a couple of average to poor shows and a couple of exceptionally poor shows. Okay, so now we've got the Acolyte. Right. Well, we talked about episodes 1 and 2 last week. Your final rating on it was it 4, 3 out of 10?
I lost track, Lance. Probably got 3.
I think you gave it 4 out of 10, and I was a bit more generous because there were some things I liked about it. I gave it 5. I know people are going to disagree in the chat. Please keep it civil. If you disagree, that's fine, but don't start having a pop at each other. Own your own opinion. So now we have episode 3. Okay, well, let's talk through the story of episode 3. It begins 16 years ago on the planet of, what's the planet called again?
I'll look up right now.
Boozon, Bojo, Bonzon, something like that. And this is a planet where
Brendok. There we go.
Brendok. Thank you. I knew it began with B. We're on the planet of Brendok, and oh dear, it's IMDb ratings rather low at the moment. And currently, we go 16 years back, and the girls are around sort of 10 years of age, maybe 8 or something.
I mean, we'll go with 10. They don't say officially, but
they don't say, do they?
Yeah.
The twins that we've been introduced to in episode 1, let's say, are approximately 10 years of age, give or take. Okay.
Yeah.
And they are part of a witch's coven. Right. So I'm just going to pause there first of all. And they're led by this character, who is technically the mother of the girls, although technically she's not the mother of the girls, as we'll find out later. Played by Jodie Turner-Smith, who started out as a model. Now, I've not seen Jodie Turner-Smith in a lot, so I was a bit skeptical about her casting for this, I'll be honest. I have to say I thought she was really good. I will say I thought she was good. She did a good job in this role, especially with the script that she was given. All right.
Well, the first one we see is her other mother that has like the horns. I'll look up right now. You know, she's wearing
the other mother's called Kadar or Kaleth or something like that.
She looks like basically a version of like Darth Maul's race.
Right. Well, I'm going to call it. I'm Stupenzo. Give me time. I'm going to call it. I said from day one that these people, that the girl is being trained by a Darth Maul or Darth Maul lookalike or somebody from the race of Darth Maul. And I'm going to call it now that the person who is training her in the dark side is her mum, or the woman who carried them, i.e. Horny Head, that we've seen in the Witch's Coven. Because you'll notice that in episode 3, we don't see her get killed. And I'm going to call it that she is the one who is training the other sister. Okay. But, okay, it's a Witch's Coven. Right. There are 2 problems here straight away that I have a massive issue with.
Her name is Mother.
And that is that they're using Earth terms for Earth culture, historical culture, which Star Wars traditionally does not do. Star Wars has always come up with its own names for this kind of thing. You know, the Jedis are basically monks, but they're not called monks in Star Wars. They're called Jedi. Witches in Star Wars is a bit naff, man. It's an Earth term. It's an Earth cultural fairy tale term. I don't want to see these terms in Star Wars. I'd rather they, you know, be called spice creams or spice cakes or cream cakes or cream spice. Don't have a problem with that. I know there's lots of people losing their shit over spice cakes. I don't personally have an issue with those. But the term coven is very much an Earth term. It's not a sci-fi fantasy, another world, another universe, a galaxy far, far away. They shouldn't have called it a coven. They should have called it something else, like we're a circle of elders, or we're just and not the word elders. They could have. They'll come up with something, but this to me shows a lack of imagination. So I don't know what you thought about that. Just sticking with that issue.
Well, because the problem is, like, when you have the Clone Wars TV show and Ahsoka and was fighting different witches, and of course Darth Maul, but they actually started going to the Star Wars video games too, where they had the Clone Wars cartoon introduced the space witches and the coven. So this is actually playing off that idea that the Clone
I remember them in the Clone Wars, but there may have been some episodes I missed, but I honestly don't remember them.
That's first time you saw them. Actually, was
doesn't mean that I didn't see them and they weren't in it. But
I'm just saying. But that's the first time. That's when Disney with the Clone Wars introduced these characters of the witches and the covens. Was in the Clone Wars the cartoon.
Okay, so that we've seen them before.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, but even so. All right, I'm not going to... Okay, well, that's fair enough then. I'm going to put my hand up and say that's not the fault of this show. They're drawing on existing source material. And if the existing source material used the term witches and coven, then that's not the fault of the writers here. So I'll put my hand up and say that can't be a criticism of this show then. It can only be a criticism of the source material. But I personally think, regardless... I would have steered clear of that.
Yeah.
I would have let's not base it on those people. So I can't recall that episode clearly if I have seen it. Were they a sort of evil bunch of Force users? Were they generally bad in the narrative? Yeah,
and that's also when Darth Maul comes back to life in the TV show. That's where he's from, his whole planet and the different witches. So it ties into Darth Maul's backstory as well.
All right. I did say this was all going to tie into Darth Maul. I called that last week. I knew that was going to... I wonder, by the way, if this picture comes with a really shit piece of tasteless bubblegum. This little strip. Do you remember that stuff?
Yeah, I do.
Damn, man. You must be older than you look. So stop arguing in the chat, please, people. Behave. So... just because Desert and Leroy have got unrepressed sexual tension for each other, they need to control this stuff. So, okay, this is one of the Padwans. I wonder if she's going to turn out to be from that planet as well. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah. And like you said in the chat, Darth Maul, it's called a Zabrak, Zabrak. That's a species, which is what their other mother is, the Zabrak species.
So. Okay, so this is the flashback episode that's supposed to sort of show us where she's from and how she got to where she is today, or at least part of that narrative and how the Jedi were involved.
Yes.
So let's break that down a bit. So what happens is we know Jedi are on the planet. The witches' coven say Jedi are here. The daughters are constantly going outside the fortress, which is not allowed. The women of this coven seem to really just kind of want to live in peace away from everyone else. I mean, there's no dialogue about them hatching a plan to build an evil weapon or do bad. It just seems like the only hint of evil is from Margarita Leveva's character, where she says it's talking about how they had the kids together and what she did to make that happen. So that suggests some kind of like evil sacrifice occurred, or someone was sacrificed, or some bad action happened. But we don't know what that is yet. Okay, fine. But let's put that to one side for the moment. As it stands, these people have technically done no wrong. They just want to live on their own in peace. Jedi come along. Hey, we want to take your kids. I think as a parent, I'd be like, fuck no. Go away. You're not taking my kids. But your kids have special powers, so they need to come with us. Well, yeah, but I don't want my kid to go with you, even if it has got special powers. I'll keep the special powers here. There's a lot of farming to do on this planet. We need kids with special powers to grow wheat. Haven't you seen Rebel Moon? It's very important for small settlements like ours. So that does make the Jedi quite bad people if that's what they do. They go around and extract children from people's families. And they say they do it willingly, but there was a lot of coercive shit going on. So that's a bit of a weird thing, because this episode suggests that the Jedi practices in the past, 90 years ago, were not perhaps as squeaky clean as they should be. I don't have a problem with that as a plot narrative, because the Jedi themselves had to start at some point. They also had to evolve to become as good as they are, to become the kind of pious, religious people that they are.
Yeah.
So there would have been hiccups along the way. They would have done things wrong in the early days, and I'm guessing this is kind of, I don't know when this is. It's 90 years in the past. How many years in the past from that did the Jedi begin? I don't know where this falls in the timeline of the origins of the Jedi.
Yeah, and that's one thing, Lance, before we go further, like people like Plato would say, when it comes to Star Wars lore, there's Disney lore, there's the EU, there's comic books, there's books. I mean, you're not sure which lore we're ever choosing, because now it becomes a point where Star Wars is like Marvel Comics. You know, which continuity are we following? That's the issue. In some video games, like Old Republic, Jedi are 10,000 years old. I mean, it depends on where we're starting with the lore right now. So like you said, we're not really sure what lore we're constantly following.
Yeah, I know Oshi said she wants to be a Jedi, but you know, if I had an 8-year-old boy who said he wanted to be a girl, I'm not going to let him make that decision at 8 years of age. Just saying.
Yeah.
So,
well, it is established at Jedi. They always they try finding Force-sensitive children when they're young.
Yeah, they want the parents' permission. Well, the parents technically don't give it, although the mother ultimately says you have to make the decision, and she says she wants to go.
Yeah.
So okay, I buy into that, but it's still very murky waters. This is not a clear-cut situation, because if you take a child from a family, you're doing untold emotional damage to that family, whether the kid is special, willing, or otherwise.
Yeah.
So I have to say that any argument that, oh, this is all what's best for the kid is horseshit.
Yeah.
Well, May tries to kill her for it, as seen from Oshi's perspective. I think we're going to see an episode where we see the other side of this story, because we didn't see how the mother was killed. We didn't see how all the people died in the temple. We're supposed to believe they all died by what? Smoke inhalation and fire? I don't think so. I think there was a battle between them and the Jedi, and I think the Jedi killed them, and I think May saw that, and that's when May tried to kill Oshi, I think. And it might, if this show is really clever, they'll flip this whole episode on its head. They'll do a Quentin Tarantino. They'll show us the whole episode again, but it will be from May's perspective.
Yeah.
And it will flip what we think about the Jedi. I don't have an issue with, in any religious order where everybody claims to be really good and, you know, one with God, let's say. It's you know, it's a problem. There are always people who are not one with God or whatever. So I don't mind the fabric of the Jedi being explored and maybe put to rights a little bit. Are they all as good as they say? I think that's a perfectly legitimate plot narrative to explore. Unfortunately, it's just the way it's being done. Of course, you know, gay storyline. We can come back to that. I think this is our bad guy. I think this is our Sith. Character.
It would make sense.
So, you know, Tony K, welcome to the channel again. You're not giving this drivel a moment's thought, are you? This series hasn't been decent since 1983. I disagree. I've seen Star Wars stuff since then that I have enjoyed, particularly Rogue One. But so That's me giving my thoughts on that thus far. What are your thoughts on those same areas?
Yeah, that's the issue with the Jedi and the issue with episode 1, Qui-Gon taking Anakin to the Jedi Council. He's too old. He's too old in attachments. Jedi usually find children that are orphans, or if they do take them from their families, they're babies because of this emotional attachment. So it's one thing with Anakin because Qui-Gon believed he was a chosen one. For these Jedi to be taking these two children, there's nothing at right now that's special about them where you would want to put them through that kind of emotional damage. So it is kind of interesting how, like you said, Jedi children, they usually hunt, well, not hunt, but they recruit and they gather children, not someone who's 8 years old. So it is an interesting premise of why you're taking these two girls for, but okay.
Yeah, yeah. I think and also they must be really strong with the Force if they can detect something all the way across the galaxy, etc., etc., etc. I didn't say that the gay scene upset me, Leroy. Don't put words into my mouth, please. So I'm all for gay characters in shows, but I just don't really feel that was necessary in Star Wars as
Yeah.
rule.
But the witches are very hostile towards the Jedi too. Like the Jedi, they're by all accounts they do ask permission. They are there on a peace mission, and the witches just have a lot of they call them evil, and they're borderline about to attack them. It's like okay, so it does kind of make you feel like this whole witches coven are the bad guys. Like Jedi are just here to like find these children because maybe also the Force could be something that if they can't control their powers, they help them harness their abilities to control the Force. Which of course now they're calling the Force a thread, which is pissing some people off.
I mean, yeah, I just it's weird because the Coven don't come across as the bad guys in this episode. They come across as protective parents and a group of people who just want to live on their own.
Yeah.
But is it Star Wars though? I don't know. This episode was. I mean, of the 3 episodes so far, I liked this one the best because the characters were interesting. They didn't do. I'm not talking about the 2 girls and the Jedi. Really, talking about the guest characters. I believed this narrative. I believe this. You can picture this in the Star Wars universe. Group of women from various races coming together, fed up with the men starting wars. I mean, it is called Star Wars after all. And, deciding to form a colony and go and live in a galaxy far, far away on a planet even further away, sort of thing. I can believe that in Star Wars. That works.
Yeah. Well, she does say right here, Carrie Ann Moss's character is that a part of the Republic is you are training children in the Force, and that's what they're there for because they don't want to be. You're training Force users outside of the Jedi. That's why they're basically there to get the children for. And of course, like there's no children here. It's like we kind of caught you training kids, and that's what they're according to like their own like Republic laws. There's no unsanctioned Force children that should be trained in the arts of the Force. That's what Jedi. If you're going to be a Force user, you should be part of the Jedi because they're probably worried about the Sith returning.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So if you're showing to be strong with the Force, you need to be recruited to the Jedi because otherwise you could be recruited to evil doings. Basically, I mean
that's what I got out of it.
That's fair enough. I just don't think that was. I think we should have had something about that. There could have been an interesting. We could have done with a scene with the Jedi on their ship, and I know it would have been a little bit expositional, but not overwritten. The 4 of them heading to the planet. One of them says, "I don't feel comfortable about this mission," and then somebody else says, "Where the Force is concerned, parting children from their parents is never something we can ever be comfortable with." And they all just share a look, and that's it. Nothing else, right? Just to show that they do have a moral dichotomy about it. You could have another line if you really wanted. I mean, you could have somebody else saying, the Padawan could have said, why is it so important for us to always take children when we detect that they're strong with the Force? Because if we leave them for others to find, then it plants the seeds for the Sith to return. If you want to really billboard it, you could have said that. And actually, I wouldn't have minded that, because I think that then substitutes some justification for their actions. So if there's a flip of this and we see it from May's perspective, this whole narrative, that would be interesting. But it feels like we only saw a fraction of actually what happened. 1 minute there's a fire. By the way, how does a fire destroy a stone fortress? There was almost no wood.
Don't think too hard.
Yeah, I mean, there were some curtains here and there, but it was almost no wood. It's entirely stone. You can see it's entirely stone. So I mean, maybe in this Star Wars galaxy, fire burns in space and burns stone. I'm not sure how fire works in this Star Wars universe.
Yeah. Also that scene, Lance, when they first meet the Coven.
Sorry.
Yeah, you could say also the one other mother, she attacks the Padawan because his eyes turn black, and she's like, well, if you want your Padawan to get his mind back, don't basically leave. It's like, hey, hold up a second. It's like, you did attack him. I mean, she let him go, but still, it's like that's an act of hostility right there.
Yeah, but they've come to take the children, so it's like that's an act of defense. And she was their mother, so as far as I'm concerned,
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. But I mean, if the Jedi, if that was a big fight scene, though, I would say the Jedi would be in like their. I mean, the defense was like, hey, she's attacked one of our Padawans.
I was actually waiting for it to be like, because what I wanted to see was it all to turn bad, them to draw their lightsabers and kind of be forced into combat, and then of course ultimately they end up killing most of the Coven, who really are essentially just, if they hadn't gone there, no one would have died. That's the moral dichotomy, isn't it? If they hadn't gone there, no one would have died. Would someone else have gone there and influenced the kids, and then more people would have died? That's the flip side. But I don't think those arguments are really very well presented in the show. That's clearly what's intended. But
it's like that entire scene. That's a problem I have against the witches, is that the one Jedi Master gives up his lightsaber, and Carrie Ann Moss is like, listen, we want to test the children with your permission, of course. They're handing your lightsabers over. It's like, we're not really here to. If we wanted to, we could wipe you guys all out. We're here on a peace mission and asking permission, and your first defense is hostility and attacking one of our Padawans. Like, we're not here for that. We're just here to see if these girls have potential powers, and we're asking your permission kindly and attack you. Like,
But, yeah, this haircut didn't suit this guy, did it? And it felt like his real hair is the long hair, and I think they had tied that back and stuck this dead cat on his head. I'm not sure, but it looked awful. I can't give him any props for that.
Yeah.
By the way, if you look in the background of this shot, you can see these are polystyrene, these things here.
Yeah, but the next scene, they get into this big, the Covenant has a meeting, and of course one of them says, well, if 4 Jedi, if we kill them, who's going to miss them? Because the Republic is pretty big. I'm like, yeah. And they didn't say, like, what happens if we kill these Jedi? Well, if we kill the Jedi, now we have the whole Republic taking down our Covenant. But they're having a big meeting discussing killing these Jedi. It's like, damn, guys. They were just there to talk.
But if someone had killed them, suddenly across the universe, someone would have gone, oh, I feel a strong disturbance in the Force, like 4 voices cried out far, far away, and then suddenly vanished. That kind of thing. This kid, by the way, Dean Charles Chapman, is the soldier of. He's the other soldier in the film 1917. He's the one who dies. This kid. So getting some good parts.
Yeah.
And actually, he's good. He's fine. I quite like him as an actor. He's got a whole Anakin thing going on in this image here.
True, with the braid.
Yeah. This character was kind of like again, we might see more about her in a flashback where she serves more of a purpose. She just kind of wandered on and said like, "Oh," and then she just sort of disappeared again, and that was it. I felt like she definitely had more lines that were cut.
Probably, yeah.
That was sure. Tony, you definitely don't come across as antagonizing, but anyone finding value in this feminist propaganda might have an agenda. Well, indeed. I mean, I'm sure that people are discussing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dean Charles Chapman was in Game of Thrones. I mean, at the minute, the narrative of that guy later killing himself with poison still makes absolutely no sense. Because why would he go into a meditative trance for
10 years? For 10 years.
And also protect himself with this cool barrier thing?
Yeah.
If he had this big guilt, he could have just killed himself years ago. He could have topped himself, and he could have done that himself. He didn't have to wait for someone to come along and kill him if he felt that bad. That's nonsense at the moment.
It's about waiting for the right moment.
That's one of the many story threads of nonsense. Leroy doesn't see any feminism propaganda in the show. I need to explain to people, Leroy is blind. He does watch the show with a hearing thing, so can't actually watch, can't actually see it. Just kidding, Leroy. Only teasing. Yeah, he didn't do anything. I mean, well, at the minute, yeah. I don't know if you've just joined the stream. I have advanced the proposition that I feel we've only seen one narrative as to what happened, which is Osha's narrative. I think we're going to see May's narrative of these events, and I think her narrative is going to be different. That's what I think. If they do that, that's quite clever. But
Yeah.
and maybe this woman will get 2 more lines where she'll go, "Oh well, I'm suffering from dementia and I don't know what I'm doing." Well, I don't know what race she is. I don't not sort of can't really tell. The comes from the slapped arse planet.
Yeah,
this is definitely your Sith right here. I'm telling you now. This is the bad guy.
I mean, she's got so much hostility. But then maybe the plot twist, it's their other mother. Maybe she turned evil after, I don't know, after everyone died.
Yeah, I mean, there are massive plot holes in this.
Yeah,
that's the issue. Yeah. What did you think of these are the Brady twins? What did you think of them? Acting
wise, I mean, I guess for what they had, they were okay. I mean, it's just one's more bratty than the other one, but that's the character. I mean, for what they're given, I mean, the kids acting was okay for kids. Nothing to write home about. It's just there.
I disagree. I don't think we did see May's narrative. We didn't see how the mother died, or technically the father. We didn't see what happened to her after she fell into the pit. We didn't see what happened to her before she came running up and had the argument with her sister and started the fire. There's a whole load of unexplained stuff, which I think listen, if the show's got any credit, it'll address those issues. If it doesn't address them, Leroy, then the show's got problems. Do you blokes believe that they are using the unreliable narrative trope, a bit of Rashomon, perhaps? It's a lot of millions of dollars to spend on a Rashomon project. Listen, I'm a big Star Wars nerd. I've got a Lego Death Star right here. There it is. Look, there you go. There's my Lego Death Star. By the way, this Lego Death Star has a lot of special modifications that I made myself.
God.
And it can achieve 0.0 photons in the collide with sofa light speed ratio. I've also got about 200 Stormtrooper figures that I bought from China. So it's got a lot of Stormtroopers in it.
Like what Enzo said, shouldn't it be more identical? Maybe use the same actress.
Well, they are twins, but
yeah.
I think they're fine. They don't need to look exactly alike.
That's twin
That
story.
does, yeah. I mean, that does kind of present a little bit of that kind of issue. I'm willing to overlook. It's fine.
Yeah. So next we have
Aggressively relaxing. Welcome to the channel. I searched Star Wars and now I'm here.
You poor thing.
We're having a reasonably civilized discussion about the Acolyte, trying to list the positives and negatives and be as constructive as we can. I mean, this is not a hater channel, but at the same time, some aspects of this show are quite difficult to defend. I'm interested in your views. Do put them in the chat, and welcome to the channel, mate. Thank you for coming here. Check out the industry interviews. You'll find them very, very useful.
But she goes to get tested, and the one Padawan he takes a blood sample.
Well, he wants to know what positives. I said it earlier. I thought Jodie Turner-Smith was good. I think some of the acting is okay. Some of the acting is not bad. Some of the production design is okay.
Some of the production, some shots are nice.
Some shots are nice, but then it's countered with like, that shot looks good. I feel like I'm there. I feel like, and then you've got another shot where it's like, that's like someone standing in front of one prop on a massive green screen. But that, this was filmed in Wales, which it's not a place you typically think of to go and film on location, because Wales it rains a lot in Wales. It rains.
I've heard.
Stupenzo was activated the buzzer. Well done. You score 1 point.
She is attractive.
Oh, she's a model. I don't know what the purpose of this. I guess this is a fire lamp. But again, just going to say it. This place is built out of stone, not wood. I mean, try burning a castle. It takes a long time for a fire to catch light.
She was like, sprinkling oil all over the place and then just dumps it on there off screen.
I love this bit where they're getting ready to go to Studio 54. This was wasn't sure about this. This is very Buck Rogers.
One or many, two are joined, or something.
Yeah, that whole song thing was a bit.
As I was showing earlier.
Not sure how I felt about that. This bit we haven't seen yet.
No.
So I'm guessing this must be coming because this is on the Wookiee planet, clearly.
Yeah.
And they're obviously going to defend the Wookiee, as it were. Oh, is that Jedi Porkins on the left?
God. Oh boy.
So beautiful sets. Well, we didn't call them beautiful. It's Star Wars when the bed mattress climbs up the wall. I mean, some production design on it is fine, but some is. This same Star Wars set, by the way, this is the same city set that they used in Rogue One. It's been used in some of the other productions. Do you know what? I actually thought that they used an older actor for him here. I'm surprised to learn that's also Dean Charles. They did a good job. Now, there you go. Another credit for the show. Good makeup with the aging, definitely, especially for this guy.
Yeah.
Don't know if that's a real beard, but it looks all right. It's not a Gettysburg beard. This is all done quite well as well. The whole levitation. I know how they do that. It's put a pole under the cloak, basically, and but hello, what's this? Don't know who Vanessa Sam is, but that outfit doesn't look like you'd be able to run very fast. I mean, okay, it's a flashback. We get the backstory.
Well, on top of her setting fire, then it seems like the whole for some reason all the machinery is coming down. There's a bridge that separates two girls, and of course, she's like, "What have you done?" And May's like, "What have you done?" So it's like we're led to believe that it wasn't just May doing this, because how did she, she's only 8, she doesn't have the power to start taking down structures like that.
Hey, let's create a poll, because we can create a poll, right?
You can. I can't.
Hang on, I'm doing it. Start a poll. So, what should the question be?
Why am I watching this for? I don't know.
The Acolyte. The Acolyte.
I mean, even right here, May is telling Osha, she's like, Mama's dead. So
at one, how about we do this? At one with the Force.
Did Harrenhal burn?
Or firmly in the dark side.
Yeah. Also, another issue I had because they're Jedis. When the girls are falling, he has to reach out. He grabs her by her hand and like he lets May fall. You do realize they have the Force, right? He could have stopped both girls with the Force and lifted them up. They're 8 years old and pulled them towards him. That whole bridge sequence, because May's like, oh, she falls, and at that point they think May is dead because she fell to her death. You're a Jedi master. You kind of can use the Force to grab her. All right.
Sorry, hang on. I missed that because I was focusing on doing the poll here. Okay, the poll's up, so you can vote whether you think it's at one with the Force or whatever. So sorry, say your last point again.
Because after the fire and May escapes through the little hole in the door. Yeah, and like you're talking to Osha escapes, but they're talking the bridge collapses and they both start sliding down. And the one Jedi, I keep forgetting his name, the Asian dude, he's like he's running.
Soul.
He jumps and grabs Osha, and May, presumably that's why I think she's dead for, falls to her death. You do realize the fact that he's a Jedi master. You could just grab both with the Force and bring him to him.
Yeah, he could have done that.
I mean,
that's
just saying.
Okay, so that's
the Force does exist, right?
That's another plot hole right there. So okay, interesting. Yeah, that is. I mean, okay. There's. Okay, the plot holes in this episode. Let's talk about them. One is, I feel there's not enough setup to explain why the Jedi come to this planet for these kids in particular. Sure, they're kids who are sensitive with the Force. We've detected them, fine. But taking a kid away from a family is still a tremendously traumatizing act. So I want more setup for that. I want a conversation with the Jedi. Maybe we see that. Maybe there's another flashback episode. I don't know, but there should be more setup to justify that. So that for me is a deficiency in the script. One. Two, this is like a Jedi commando team. You've got Carrie-Anne Moss's character is she's a master. You've got Sol, who's a master of bad wigs, clearly. So he's got amazing abilities. So technically they probably could have saved both kids. 3, why is that door with the portal there in the room? Was there set up for the door with the portal in the room? I don't remember being set up for that.
It was the device that when the Padawan gave her after he tested her blood, he gave her the device, and that's what she used to unscrew it.
Right, sure, but did we see that there was that door in that room previously with that portal in it? Was that door ever used or shown with that tunnel thing in the door? That wasn't in it prior to that, was it?
The angle I'm looking at, I'm not seeing it right here. I'm looking at.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was any setup for that door. Maybe there was a scene that was cut. So that's another deficiency.
Yeah.
No setup for the route of escape. It's just there. And in script writing, I'll tell you now, being a script writer for some 25 years. By the way, I wrote 37 pages in 3 days for the script I'm working on at the moment. And this is slightly off topic, but while you're looking this up, I'll tell you. I've got a friend who's producing a series for the BBC, a 6-part BBC. And I said to them, where are you at with your scripts? Just because we caught up the other day. Oh, we're still in the writer's room. You're still in the writer's room. You're like filming in 8 weeks, aren't you? You start in 8 weeks, Starting September. July, August. Okay, maybe 10 weeks, I guess. 10 weeks away. 10 weeks away, you're shooting 6 episodes. You want a bit of rehearsal time with the cast and whatnot. That's still like, and they haven't got one completed episode yet. And I'm like, what speed are you? I said to this person, what speed are your writers going at? And they said to me, don't ask. It's a nightmare. And I was like, yeah, okay. All right. And they're getting paid like big money for that. Trust me, they're getting paid big money.
Okay, I think it's the angle. The first time we see that room, actually, the girl's getting the hair done. We don't see the door, but the second time we actually do see that door. Because
we see the door, but is the door ever used? Is the portal ever used?
No, but I mean, no, it is there in the background as they're talking to the mother.
Oh, I mean, there's a vase in the background. It's like, you know.
But that hole in the wall is there in the second scene, so it actually is there. It's
there, but it's just there.
Yeah.
Okay. At the moment, our poll is running 71% to 29%. So do vote if you haven't voted. There's 12 people watching. Make sure you take part in the poll. Yeah. Okay. So we've got lack of setup for escape ploy. Plot flaw with powerful Jedi who can only save one kid when he could actually save 2. That's a very good point. I hadn't thought of that one. And then I don't know, the whole confrontation between the Coven and the Jedi is weird. But okay, let's put that to one side. Fire taking down the entire fortress within a matter of minutes, even if it's space fire or whatever. What's the planet called again? Benzine, Boji. What is it again?
BS. Brendok.
Bendok. If it's Bendok fire that's unique to Bendok that burns stone, okay, fine. But the palace burns very quickly. The Coven are quite powerful. They've got force powers.
Yeah.
Why have they all died? Now, my opinion of it is one of 2 things happened, okay? Either they got in a fight with the Jedi killed them. 2, they all committed hurry-curry. They basically decided all to die together. Or 3, bullshit script idea. They all died of smoke inhalation, which is nonsense because they're in a fortress that has numerous exits, which is established in previous plot, and it's surrounded by fresh air, and you can just leave. You know, it's like you can just get out, so you're not going to die of smoke inhalation. That's nonsense. You could also create a force bubble to keep the smoke out because you're very powerful with the force. You can do all kinds of things. You could use the force to put the fire out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, unless this is force fireproof fire,
God.
something. Yeah, I think it being some sort of David Koresh Waco scenario, or you mean, you know, the teams that went in behind the tanks and fired in the gas and gassed everybody, depending on your viewpoint. But yeah, really good drama, by the way, on that. It's a very good drama with the guy from Lone Survivor, brilliant actor, forget his name, playing David Koresh. So yeah, it just sort of, and I don't know, I have a horrible feeling none of those 3 are going to be what actually happened. They're going to come up with some nonsense. Damn, is there any way we can watch episode 4 now? I kind of want to put myself at my misery here. See,
we also we do have 6 minutes of credits, which isn't too bad, I guess.
How long was the episode? It did feel quite short. Was it about 30 minutes?
It is 38 minutes.
6 minutes of credits.
Yeah.
Plus.
So yes, it's considered a 45-minute episode. I'm scanning through with my cursor right now. Just on top of so also we have previous on and so we don't get to Brendok. So a minute and a half. And it ends at 38.
So 7.5 minutes of credits and previously on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
You're saying in terms of footage, you're basically getting 37 minutes of actual footage.
37. Yeah. It's pretty pretty small. Yeah. Oh man, don't know. Another thing I noticed was can you get the episode up? Can we go to the end credits?
Sure.
Get the episode up and go to the end credits. I want to point something
Sure.
out. Desert Phoenix thinks the end credits were the best thing about the episode. Better than the episode, sorry. That may well be true. We'll be right back.
Sure. Obviously, other channels out there and people talking on the show, they hate it way more than I think me and Lance do. I've hit the point of apathy, like many people have said, where I'm watching because of Lance, and also Lance said he'll get into it that it is June. There's a certain month going on. They happen to have two mothers that are very much in love, which is, I mean, that's done on purpose. There's a timing issue with that. Like, let's not pretend that they didn't purposely put out two mothers in June for no reason. But oh boy. I mean, take away if I mean, I wouldn't even get into if there's a gender or anything, but just there are inconsistencies with the plot. Like, yes, we have force users that don't use the force. We have fires that are burning that shouldn't be burning. We have, I mean, where else do you go? Like, the force. Even when Disney started doing the whole space witches, they turned the force into magic, and it's one thing to use the force, which is this supernatural, like whatever presence in the universe. But now we have magic in Star Wars, and you do hit a certain level where it's like it is science fiction, but now we have space magic. Now we have witches. It's like how outside the realm of possibility and like what we're taking, it gets ridiculous. Even with Lucas, I mean, as much as people dump on 7, 8, and 9, he wanted to do the whole what was it the wills, the midichlorians and the force, those creatures. Like, dude, at some level, stop getting too ridiculous.
So I just want to say I'm only watching this show because of Blue. This is all Blue's doing.
That's my idea.
So I am watching it because I said, hey, yeah, all right, I'll do a stream with you, Blue. No problem. Yeah, I know you really want to review it. So, and you're too embarrassed to put it on your channel. We'll do it on mine. It's fine.
That's exactly what it is.
So just to say, so Blue is why I'm here. I support you, buddy. Okay. Hey, Dan Candy's in the house.
Yeah, because when you look at the prequels, I mean, the prequels, the Force still had limitations. I mean, as powerful as Anakin was, and even like Palpatine, still the Force, you could do things, but it's even our buddy Critical Drinker said now it's just a plot device. Like as powerful as Yoda was, I mean, Yoda, like he lifted a like Luke's like ship, but that was still, I mean, that thing weighed whatever. I mean, he had limitations. Like you weren't seeing Yoda like lift up skyscrapers. The Force.
I think the Force is best used in Star Wars extremely sparingly. Let's mute the thing. We don't need to hear it.
Yeah.
Right. So you got directed by. Yeah, fair enough. Only one name.
Not sure that is, but
lots of people doing that these days.
Koganada.
Right. So next, these are the writers. If you look them up, by the way, I think I might be wrong, but hang on, let me just check this. But I think Jasmine might be they've got one writer on their writing team who is very experienced. There's two writers on the writing team who've never written anything. Well, apart from this. Now, Jasmine Flanorni wrote 2 episodes. Yeah, she's the writer who's pretty experienced. She was a writer's assistant and a writer's PA on 4 shows, but this is the first time she's written stuff of her own. Okay, hold on that title for the moment. It was Jasmine, and the other writer was on this episode was who? Was it Charmaine the Great? I think it was Charmaine the Great, wasn't it?
So
you only need to go back a tiny bit. Yeah,
it's 10 seconds. That right there.
Oh, Ellen Shim. Okay, look, just leave that up for the moment.
All right.
Yeah, right. So just to be clear, Jasmine Flaunay has been a writer's PA and a writer's assistant, and I'm not saying that's not valuable. That is valuable.
Yeah.
On 4 other shows, one of which was Heather's, a couple of others. But this is the first time she's sat down and written a script, and she's done 3 episodes, I believe. No, 2 episodes she's written herself or co-written. This is one of the co-written episodes, and she's been staff writer on 3 episodes. So that would have been working with the writing team.
Yeah.
Ellen Shim has written 1 episode of House of Dragon. Good for her, because the writing in House of Dragon is fantastic. She's done 26 episodes of Light as a Feather. Executive story editor, written by and staff writer. Right, this is the experienced writer on the team is Eileen Shim. So so you've got one not that experienced and one very experienced writer. So that's a good idea. Put Jasmine with an experienced writer. That's a good idea, actually. Credit to them for that, and credit to them for being okay to share the writing credit. I mean, I wouldn't want to, anyway, but let's not go there. Right, so now created by Leslie. Okay, based on George Lucas. Thank God he gets his name on, although I'm not sure he'd be too happy. Right, executive producer Leslie Headland. Okay, so that's 2 credits for Leslie. Keep going. Executive producer Kathleen Kennedy. Right, okay, and we still got exec producers. Okay, and then in a second you're going to have there's quite a few people that have got EP or producer credits on there. Leslie Headland also has a producer's credit, as well as an executive producer's credit and a created by. Look, Eileen Shim also got a producer's credit.
Yeah.
So you've got so many of your writing team are also producers.
Producers
on this show. Your creator is also a producer on this show.
More producers,
hands-on. So I think Candy. I think one of these. So basically, what that does is it like muddies the water in terms of who is ultimately answerable to whom. That's a very conflicted network of authority. And I don't think that that's conducive to getting a good result overall. I mean, silly songs aside, apart from the plot holes that we've talked about and the lack of setup, the dialogue in this episode, you can argue about whether spice creams are whatever. Were they called spice cakes or something?
I'll look up a second.
I can't remember, but I didn't care.
Space cream, space ice cream.
Space creams, is it? Spice creams.
Let's go with that.
The actual dialogue in this was nowhere near as bad or banal as episodes 1 and 2. It was far less painful overall.
Right. Let's have some spice creams. That's what it is.
Yeah. That's what I've seen Jodie Turner-Smith in. Queen and Slim with Daniel Kaluuya. She was great in that. She was really great in that. She did that Anne Boleyn series where Anne Boleyn was black and really bad idea. And everybody hated that show. The critics tore it apart. She was also in The Last Ship. She did 20 episodes of The Last Ship, which I have seen. She was in the sci-fi show Night Flyers. Quite like The Last Ship. It kind of ran out of steam, and it was very obviously kind of like all shot in California. But
we mentioned Me and Lord Toxic. The main character from The Last Ship is the bad guy in Bad Boys 4.
Right. Okay. Yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah. No, it's a good show.
So it doesn't actually. Jodie Turner-Smith, good actress. I have to say, she's good. She's good in this. She's a good actress, full stop. I've liked everything I've seen her in, I've liked. So the actress who plays the other, the one who I think is Evil Sith, her name was, I'm just trying to find her now. Let me have a look. Where's she gone? Was it Margarita Levia? Born in Leningrad. Leningrad.
Yeah, Coral. I'm trying to find her name. Girl actress.
also known as St. Petersburg. So,
okay.
Oh, right. She was in that thing with David Tennant. Very good. Yeah, she was all right. I mean, okay. You see, look, I watched The Deuce. See, I gave The Deuce 9 out of 10.
Which,
yeah,
also
25 episodes. That's
also when that's even worse because, well, okay, by all accounts, she carried them, which is, I guess she's the one who gave birth to them. So shouldn't they have Darth Maul horns then?
Yeah, I mean, well, we don't know what the mother did to facilitate the birth, do we?
No, that's not details, but yeah, like Coral's the one who carried them, and then the other mom's the one who created them. But if you're carrying them, I forget it. I don't want to know.
I mean, yeah, we can get into known science and argue they should have horns. I'm quite willing to accept that there's some Star Wars bollocks as to why they don't have horns, which is fine. They don't have to have horns. If there's some evil magic at work that involved Jodie Turner-Smith's character putting her blood into a cauldron, conjuring up some sort of spell, some kind of evil spirit came up and went into her partner's for JJ, like in Game of Thrones. You remember that with the evil, all of that. Maybe there was something like that happened, and that's fine. I mean, it doesn't feel very Star Wars. It does feel more like Game of Thrones. But I'm curious to know what evil happened. And she's in. I think she's in. She's only in one episode. Oh, well, that might just be because to date. Yeah. I have noticed that about IMDb lately, that they won't tell you how many episodes someone's in until I think she's going to be in more than one episode. She's got to be. It says one episode here. I don't reckon that's going to be the only time you're going to see her. That's my gut feeling. But Jodie Turner-Smith is in six episodes, and she dies in this one, apparently.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying you're gonna see another narrative of this. There's going to be a different narrative where the Jedi did bad shit. Those people did not die from smoke inhalation. Okay, we've got a couple of new people in the chat. Just going to give you shout outs. Mr. E, as a data analyst, I'm very convinced Bob is inside man in a scam of corporate espionage. He gathered all these IPs just to orchestrate Disney's downfall and eventual takeover. Well, I'll pass that on to. I don't think he means the inside man as in the inside man on our channel. He means Bob Iger, right?
Yeah.
Well, who knows? Jodie Turner-Smith is Joshua Jackson's ex-wife. Really? Go Joshua. Good man. Good taste, sir. I agree wholeheartedly in your preference. Yeah, by the way, Mr. E, if you are a data analyst, I wrote the play about the Post Office Horizon software scandal, which might be a topic that you might find interesting if you're the whiz with computers. So what are your predictions, man? Who do you think is the evil Sith that's training May?
Well, it's definitely one of the mothers, but I mean, I think it's obvious to, use the horn bad guy because that's where you use Darth Maul. But I think that their twist is going to be using the other mother because if
the twist is the other mother, Jodie Turner-Smith's character, is actually the Sith. Do you know what? That's a good twist. I like that.
Yeah, I think making the mother, the surrogate mother, it's too obvious.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at some of the reviews on IMDb. I'm just curious.
Someone shared that Forbes magazine said this is the worst Star Wars episode ever written out of any Star Wars.
Do you want to grab that article? Sure. Let's have a look.
I was like, whoa.
Okay, so I'm just going to look through some of these. This is the top review, which 987 people out of 1,277 found helpful. Who in the holy hell read these scripts and said, yeah, these are great. Definitely don't need to rewrite the entire thing. That would be one of my questions, actually. Who had script control here on this show? Because, look, I'm all for bringing on new writers. I'm all for a creative, you've got to have someone steering a ship on a show like this, and that person has to take the majority of the flack and make the majority of the decisions. That's why they take the flack, and that in the case of this show is Leslie Headland. So you have to give her a reasonable degree of autonomy, but this is one of the most well-known IPs on the planet, and there should be some oversight of that. So, and also she would know that you need people like that to oversee things and say, well, that probably wouldn't happen because. And on soaps, long-established soaps in England, which is a country I live in case you haven't heard of it, we have a very famous soap called EastEnders, which has been going for absolutely years. And a lot of people cut their writing teeth in EastEnders, right? That's where they go to first learn how to turn around scripts quickly. And basically, when they first join, when a new writer first joins EastEnders, or when a new actor first joins EastEnders, they'll be given a Bible as well as a shitload of episodes to watch, and it'll be like you've got to catch up on who's who. Read the Bible. This is who's who. These are the storylines that have happened. So you can't have this person fall in love with this person because this person assaulted so-and-so's brother in episode 5026. That kind of stuff. For a Star Wars IP, you should have somebody like that who says, well, the Jedi won't do this because, or this wouldn't happen in the Star Wars universe because this has already happened. If your attitude is just, fuck all that, we're going to do what we want. Yeah, well, that's why you're going to get reviews like these. It's over. Absolute junk. Sorry, but what? This is more reasonable. 6 out of 10. Me, just not for me. A teenage soap opera in space. Star Wars writers should know Star Wars. Star Wars A New Low. Garbage. I'm so tired of the Star Wars fandom. Okay, so I'm going to read this out for balance. Is this the best thing ever? No. Is it the worst? Also, no. We've had 2 episodes so far. Yes, it has some issues, but it's entertaining so far, because I've said so far twice. You need to edit your work, sir. Is it entertaining? Is it entertaining?
Define the word entertaining.
Well, are you not entertained? Sorry,
I'm definitely
Gladiator. I mean,
I'm here because we're friends.
When you come off watching the show, do you feel, yeah, I've been entertained?
I usually take a shot of whiskey afterwards.
Okay, that's
unusual for me.
Okay, so a fresh take in an entire new era of Star Wars. That I'm all for.
Yeah.
Don't let the trolls, haters discourage you. Neither a troll nor a hater. We are simply discussing this show in a civilized fashion and talking about what we like and what we don't like about it. And people in chat can do the same. Tony K. Yes, we have. Well, we saw that clip. Joseph Rishi, welcome to the channel. Not seen you before, sir. I won't spoil in the chat if someone doesn't want me to. You can message me though, but I don't know how. Oh, right. I think you're talking to Daryl. Okay. But welcome to the channel. Does everyone want spoilers? Are you talking about, do you know the plot for the next episode? Do you have the next episode, Joseph? If you do, you can message me, care of my Twitter profile, Lance Nielsen @WD on Twitter. In fact, Blue can pop that in the chat. I'll bring that other review up in a sec. So we've got Abysmal, really? Why? 1 out of 10. High production value, but cringe and horrible dialogue. I have to agree. Most of the dialogue was terrible. The worst Star Wars project since the holiday special. Ooh, that's pretty severe criticism there.
Jesus.
Feels like something a teen would come up with. Yeah, I have to agree. This does feel like the sort of Caravan of Courage era. The writing is so beyond terrible, and not only it feels like the people that made this have never watched Star Wars. Disney taking ownership of Star Wars was the worst thing that ever happened to it. The only one I kind of liked was the one with Adam Driver in it. Heck, I wasn't even a huge fan of the original Star Wars. so it's not like I have a huge fan bias. So there you go. So that's someone from. I really wanted to love this. After all, I loved Russian Doll. I did like Russian Doll. I watched that show. I enjoyed it very much. I'm not a Star Wars hater. I don't hate Kathleen Kennedy. In fact, I was rooting for this show to prove all the haters wrong, because it's just so ridiculous to be vehemently opposed to something because of the obvious bias against the showrunner. I agree. I didn't want the show to be crap. That being said, this is as bad or worse than Kenobi, the Book of Boba Fett, blah 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 blah, the Ewok films, and yes, even as bad as
the Ewok films.
When the showrunner gives her wife such a prominent role, and she is literally the worst actor possibly in all the history of Star Wars, I agree. You shouldn't be giving your spouses a role on a show. They should have to audition like everyone else, and her acting was not good. Then you realize rather quickly there is no care given to even the most basic of filmmaking principles. Both episodes were so amateurly produced on so many levels. I'm shocked this is so bad. This is from someone who wanted to love the show. On your right, I'm rambling. This is a huge stain on the franchise, and if the rumors about episode 3 are true, then this might actually be the thing that pushes the fan base over the deep end. I mean, we're not talking about the gay storyline really here. We've not really focused on that. I suspect that's what he means, but
yeah,
it's time to put people in charge that understand this franchise. Can't say that I disagree with that criticism. 1 out of 10, this is unwatchable. I like Star Wars, but this is a little weak. I've got a bad feeling about this. Most juvenile Star Wars ever. Another Disney ruined franchise. Complete garbage, and so it goes on. It takes time to write a review on IMDb, you know, a long review. It takes time. She was acting. I thought she was a lizard with no personality. Yeah, as I keep forgetting that she used to be Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant. You think she'd be far more creative. Also, she was Harvey Weinstein's PA. Well, all I'm going to say is it's not okay to see lots of crimes happening and not say anything. So, just going to put that there. All right. Regardless of whether you want to hang on to your job or not, it's not okay to do that. So let's have a look at this then.
This is from Forbes. Oh boy.
Can you put the link for this in the chat?
Sure.
You're a mod on my channel, aren't you?
Probably, yeah.
If you're not, I'll make you one now.
I use my mod powers. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
I never use them. Yes, Lance. So this says the third I hate these ads. The third episode of Disney's The Acolyte is an embarrassment to the entire franchise, though the same could be said for so much of Star Wars these days, outside of Andor and the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. Here's one exchange between 2 characters in its latest episode. May, the Jedi are bad. Osha, the Jedi are good.
Yeah, I remember those lines. That was pretty wank.
Look, what have you done? What have you done? What have you done? I want to ask Disney the same question. What have you done? This entire episode is a bad joke. Oh my god. And that's I won't read the entire thing, but that's basically
No, wait, go.
Okay.
Whoa, I want to read this.
Go ahead.
It appears they were conceived using the Force or something. Yeah, well, we don't know what that is. Force using witches are also apparently frowned upon in this galaxy. They call the Force the thread. I'm getting dark side vibes here. I kind of liked that they called it something else. I kind of thought that was fine. I'm also getting the sense that this show will try and be a little edgy and make the Jedi out to be bad guys, which we've seen play out about half a dozen times at this point. Yeah. The way they fight with each other is that bit where they were hitting each other when the thing was going on was just like nonsense. That was great. Okay, yeah, I've read all that. Let's scroll further down. I've read that bit.
Okay.
Maya's upset. Friends kill her sister. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
Somehow the Force. Jedi are complicit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, clearly they are complicit somehow, but we just don't know how yet. Oh, that foot thing looks interesting. Anyway, okay, continue.
Let's see. IGN says, I'm confused about the entire motivation of May, who wants revenge on the Jedi, but is actually the one responsible for killing everybody. If that is actually, or anyone's actually dead. After all, both twins thought the other one was dead. It seems likely that none of the witches died at all. Okay.
Yeah, that's entirely possible.
Yeah. So she didn't burn everyone to death, but she did start the fire. The Jedi in episode 2 killed himself over this. It seems if there's not more to story, then this will make absolutely no sense.
Yeah, there has to be more to this. If there isn't, then this is the biggest load of bollocks ever written.
Yeah.
So if that's it, if what we've seen is it, my money is that there's going to be another flashback episode, and we're going to see a different portrayal to the narrative.
The witch chant was one of the lamest things in the history of all chants. I wanted to giggle maniacally listening to it. I also wanted to cry.
Yeah, it was a bit crap. I'll be honest.
The Night Sisters from actually the video games, and which I played, and the Clone Wars. The Night Sisters are better witches. Marin from the video games.
Why do they just call them the Night Sisters? That's like way better, or the
also
Sisters, or I don't know, whatever.
This character Marin, she was almost my favorite character in both video games. She's actually a fantastic character. This show had something like $180 million budget, and I cannot for the life of me tell where any of it has gone. Every world feels small. Every set feels claustrophobic. There is no sense of scale or variety. It's all so relentlessly generic. But hey, lightsabers.
I can tell you where it's gone. Well, we'll come back to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Rewatching The Escape with Sol and Osher, this room with a pile of bodies is clearly not from fire. So we know there's more to this, but that doesn't change the ludicrous whole "I'll kill you" bit. May's trying to burn her sister to death. I mean, yeah, that also is like the motivation's not really there unless there's something else that she's seen that she's been manipulated into believing.
And you said, Lance, and maybe they die from a fire or smoke?
Well, that's box.
Yeah. Yep. The girls fight. The fire spreads through what appears to be a stone cave. Stone.
Yeah, I know. I've already raised this point. Yeah.
Yep. And then what's up with this tree?
No screaming, no fighting, no battle. Everybody's just lying on the floor. Also, what's up? Well, that tree's borrowed from Pandora, just in case anyone's wondering.
Oh. Yeah. I guess that's the whole. It's just a bunch of tweets. Oh, I have no words. Okay.
Do have a theory. Imposters taking over Star Wars. Maybe they're fans.
Yep.
So who wrote this article?
Let's scroll up.
There's
somebody named Eric Kane.
Eric Kane. All right. Yep. So Eric Kane Forbes. That sounds like a bad guy from like Command and Conquer Red Alert. So we'll come on to the budget in a moment.
Yeah.
Eric Kane. Let's have a look. Eric Kane.
Oh, and of course he's on Twitter.
Okay. Yep. Curious to Eric Kane. I write all about TV shows and movies. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got a beard.
Well, actually, nope.
He's a white guy with a beard. So so obviously his thoughts are meaningless. They don't count for anything. Sorry. And I don't mean that. Of course, he's entitled to have an opinion. And but I found him on Twitter.
Yeah.
So and I can even message him because I think he follows me already.
I do like
blue tick. Oh no, blue tick means they're legit, doesn't it?
Yes.
You can message him. Usually, you can only message people if they follow you, unless they pay for the extra doodah or whatever.
Probably, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he does say at the end, Lance, to his credit, he goes, "I'd say Star Wars deserves better, but George Lucas didn't do a very good job himself in later years. In fact, the Acolyte keeps reminding me of the prequel trilogy in all the worst ways." He's like, "Well, what a shame. I'll keep watching. I really do hope it gets better. In fact, next week's episode 4, which is too short and has an annoying cliffhanger ending, is leaps and bounds better than this one."
Oh, see, he's already seen episode 4.
Yeah, some people have seen.
Okay, how come some people have seen episode 4, and where can we see it? Oh, hang on, I know where you got
Sure. I mean, if you are a writer for 4 weeks, maybe you have access from Disney.
Okay. Right, so just to where's the 180 million gone? All right, well, I'm going to show you where it's gone. Let's have a look at this credit list here. So these are your producers on the show. Okay, you've got executive producers, co-producers, associate producers, consulting producer, and so on. Now, how many producers does it take to change a light bulb?
Like 9.
Is a common joke in the industry. None. You only require them to bring in the money for the show, but they're going to take more of it than they bring in. So, all right, let's count them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, right? So that's 17 producers.
Oh my God.
Hang on. Right, let's get the whiteboard because we're going to need it.
Here comes basic math, boys and girls.
All right, so don't forget, I work in the film industry. I do budgets for a living. Set where we're at. We've got 17 producers. Hang on, that's not my permanent marker, is it? Oh, whiteboard marker, good. 17 producers, okay. Right. 2 of which are the person who greenlit the show, Kathleen Kennedy, right? So Kathleen Kennedy, and then you've got Leslie Headland, right? Who is also, she's got 2 producers credits. She's got writing credits on the show. She's got a co-creators credit. I think either co-creator or sole creators credit, and she is the showrunner. Okay, so I can tell you now that that's going to be at least 5 million right there, at least 5, and you know you might be talking more than that, but let's be conservative. She's going to be on at least 5 mil for all those jobs, right? So that leaves another 15. That leaves another 15 producers. But let's go back to the writing credits for a second, because this is what's called above the line. This is all the above the line costs. Okay, so here you go. You should see she's got 3 credits alone here. Now, I don't know if George Lucas gets paid something every time they make something and it's got his name on, or whether it was complete buyout for everything.
Yeah. I
don't know what the arrangement is. I suspect the arrangement is he will still get something paid to his estate every time the IP is used. But let's just argue that maybe he's been bought out completely. Right. How many of these writers, okay, are also producers? So Jasmine Flornay, definitely. I think Eileen Shim definitely is. Of the others, we've got Jason, Core, Jocelyn, Claire, Jen, and Cameron. Okay, let's shoot back. Let's have a quick look. Claire, there you go. Also, Cameron, also a producer. Jason, also a producer. So you've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people on the writing team. So that's 17 producers, 10 writers. And of those 10 writers, at least 5 or 6 of them have also got producers credits. So every one of those writers, conservative estimate, is going to be making $500,000 on this show, I would say, conservative estimate. So so the 6 writers that are also doubling as producers are going to make $500,000 each. That's another $3 million. Then we've got another 4 writers. They're probably getting, I mean, let's go conservative. They're probably getting $50,000 to $75,000 per episode. So I mean, that's not that much, but that's another 250K. So let's put that. That again, I'm going conservative with these. We still don't know how much Kathleen Kennedy's taking, but as Leslie Headland is taking 5 mil, and she's the main person on it, you have in what's called a show. A term in the industry is that you have to match fees. So somebody of Kathleen Kennedy's standing, who's put her name to the show like this and greenlit it to come in and let Leslie Headland come in and take the show, would not do that for less than Headland's fees and percentages. So Kathleen Kennedy is going to be on a equal footing financially to Headland, at least. I would say more. So Kathleen Kennedy is going to be on between 5 to 10 mil, somewhere like that. So between that team alone, I'm estimating that of that 180 million, between that team alone, you're somewhere in the region of 20 to 25 million of that budget is going to go on that team before we get to the actual production. So
I'm looking up now, Lance. You would know this term. Whatever pre-production is, apparently, according to Forbes, they spent 50 million in pre-production.
Right, yeah, pre-production. So 20 million of that would have gone to them, and then another 30 in pre-production. That would have been casting, location scouting, get trips to Wales, lots of holiday perks and stuff like that. First class flights, of course, for everybody involved. Travel. All of these producers would have got on that gravy train. Per diems. Every time you're traveling somewhere, there's per diems. Per diems, they add up, man. If you're on a $250 a day per diem, that adds up very quickly. I'll give you an example. I was having a conversation with someone about Masters of the Air yesterday, because I'm due to do a big review of it on reflection. I'm going to watch it all again. This individual told me that there were 2 people that worked on the show. I don't want to say what their jobs were, but they weren't needed after 2 weeks. But nevertheless, they were kept there throughout the entire production because they've been brought over from the States. They were in accommodation that cost something like around £5,000 a week. Or it might have been a month, but I think it was a week. And they were in accommodation in Windsor, which is very expensive, not in the castle, but, in the town. This is a relatively short distance from a lot of film studios on that side of London. And then these people would be being paid per diems per day. So per diem is the money that you're given because you're working away from home, and it covers you your daily costs. So three meals a day and any transport costs that you might incur from being away from home but traveling to and from your temporary base of accommodation. So even though, of course, transport is supposed to be provided for you, so these per diems are on top of whatever your salary may be. Minimum per diems per day in the UK will usually be between 75 to 125 pounds, and that's on the smaller budgeted productions. So if you're bringing a big team over from America, all of that team are going to be on their salary, which is their take-home pay, plus their per diems on top of that. So that money goes through pretty quick, and that's before we get onto post-production, which is on a visual effects heavy film, and most of the people in the credits on the end of the Acolyte are in post. Let's have a look at the post-production credits and see how many people we're talking here.
And plus, the actors, Lance, the actors weren't getting paid comparatively too much. The highest paid actor was the Asian gentleman, which is Lee Jung, his soul. But he got paid. He was $300,000 per episode. But that's
right. Well, okay, 300 grand per episode. He's in
all of them.
Is he in all of them? Okay, if he's in all of them, there's 8 episodes, right?
Yep. So
that's 2.4 million then.
Yeah.
So that's 2.4 million. You're above the line cast. So you're above the line costs of your producers, your writers, your directors, and then you have your then you have your leading cast, your stars.
Yeah.
So your above the line cast on this show would be Jodie Turner-Smith, Amanda Stenberg, Lee Jung-jae, and I guarantee you Leslie Headland would get her girlfriend put on the above the line cast. Maybe Dean Charles Chapman because he's pretty big. Definitely Carrie Ann Moss. And everybody else will be in the below the line budget supporting cast.
Yeah. Well,
right?
Carrie Ann Moss got paid $50,000 per episode.
Okay, but she probably did 4 episodes, about 250 grand.
It doesn't say exactly how many episodes, but just
how much did Amanda Stenberg get?
Amanda Stenberg. Where's no? She got paid $45,000.
He did a good job, by the way. The guy who plays Saul. If he had to learn English for this part, he did a good job. I don't mind him in the show.
Basically everybody else was about 30 to 40. I'm looking at the entire cast. So yeah, the highest paid is obviously you said Saul. Everyone else is 35 to 40,000 for the entire cast.
So you've got one actor on 2.4 million. Parity, by the way, is the term they use in the industry. It was on the edge of my tongue. You have to have parity between certain levels of people. In other words, if you've got a director coming in who's got a similar number of credits directing one episode of this show, and another director comes in who's also got a similar number of credits, and they talk because people talk, and one of them finds out he's on a fee of 250 grand and the other one finds out he's on a fee of 75 grand, there's going to be an argument. On the subject of the directors, funnily enough, well, we have Hanel M. Culpepper. That's a great name. Anyone who's got the surname Culpepper is all right in my book. Alex Garcia Lopez, Leslie Headland, who did 2. So there's director's fees. That's 2 more. That's 2 director's fees for Leslie Headland. Guarantee you that won't be less than 50 grand an episode. Okay, so that's another 100,000. How do you pronounce that name? Kogonada.
Yeah.
I want to
Kogonada.
Actually. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. It's I've seen this guy before. Yeah. He directed a really nice film. I've seen one of his movies, and I forget which. It might be. I think it's After Yang is the one I've seen. This is actually a really nice film. Yeah, this is the one with Colin Farrell and Jodie Turner-Smith. They get like an AI helper to come in and help their relationship, which is broken down. It's kind of cool. It's again, there's a lot of films being made about AI. So he's a good director, to be fair. He's a good, I don't have a problem with him being a director on this. That's fine. Let's look at Culpepper. What have they done? Hanel Culpepper, first woman to launch a new Star Trek series, so she must be behind Picard. Okay, she's co-executive producer of Picard.
Yeah.
Some people may see that as a positive, some may not. But she's done a lot. She's done a lot of stuff. But she's more than qualified to direct this show. More than qualified, overqualified, in fact. Plus, you got the surname Culpepper. It's a great surname. Alex Lopez, Cowboy Bebop, The Witcher.
Yeah. I mean, it comes down to Lance. So basically, it's like 22.5 million per episode, which is so far their most expensive show today. Because Obi-Wan was 90 million, and this is 180 million. So this is double the budget of Obi-Wan.
Yeah. So 22 per mil per episode. Okay.
Yep.
Right. But I guarantee you, like between 20 and 30 of that has got. Well, you said on pre-production they spent 30, right?
No, 50.
50.
Yeah,
that's an obscene amount of money to spend on pre-production. That's a nonsense figure. Got 2 DOPs. Assistant, I'll give it that. Nina Gold, casting director. She's a 6-figure salary lady. So she's not going to come on board for nothing. That's a big art direction team. That's a big makeup team. The ADs, this now art department. That's a massive art department. Look at that. Look at this art department. It's huge art department.
Yeah.
Special effects. well, we're still scrolling, and we're still scrolling, and we're still scrolling, and we're still scrolling.
On what?
Bloody hell! I mean, that's nuts when you think that I've got friends who do like sort of they make indie films, and they do little, and people have done fan films, and their effects team's like 2 people, and some of their effect shots look as good, if not better, than this.
Yeah.
Yes, we've just watched the new episode. We've just been talking about it.
Yeah.
You know,
And well, it's Disney show like with She-Hulk. She-Hulk had a very small cast, and like they're blowing 25 million per episode. And you're like, on what? She-Hulk for like most episodes 5 minutes at max. The mocap is not that expensive for a show. Like She-Hulk's budget was $250,000, maybe $250 million. And they're like, what?
I mean, also, if you look at the size of the departments, the editing department, the wardrobe, I mean, that's like probably 50 people in the wardrobe department. Okay. So they're going to need a warehouse to house all those people. Location managers, which is an insane number of people. We can see see the Wales credit here. So I mean, you can see where the money's going, because this size of crew is insanity. Just to tell you, you don't need this size of crew to make this production.
Like,
but
that's kind of stuff I think about, like,
people in work. I'll give it that.
yeah. I mean, I think that size. I think, like, Lord of the Rings, Braveheart. Like,
yeah.
My God.
I bet Braveheart has not got as many credits as that.
Yeah.
We should do a compare and contrast. What's this here? What's this here you got?
Oh, no, I was just looking at the budget and stuff like that. So.
Oh, is this the budget?
So, what said? Yeah, 100. It said look at the budget and salaries. That's what I said. 22 million per episode, even more Andor and Mandalorian. So I was just reading up stats.
Yeah. Okay.
What?
According to sources.
Yeah.
Well, here's my very detailed graphic. We'll put that down. But yeah, it's a lot of money.
What's the point that like this? Like right now, this show costs more than Dune 2.
Yeah, think about that for a second. It costs more than Dune 2. That's
and we both saw Dune 2, and
no. I actually would really like to see the 2 Dune films together, back to back, in the cinema. I was disappointed in the second part of the Dune movies.
I loved it, but
I thought it was good, but I didn't think it was great. I thought the first part was great. I thought the second part was good, but not great.
Yeah. I mean, so far by 3 episodes, Lance, unless we're missing something later on, I mean, this show should have a budget of like 40 or 50 million at best, and I'm being generous. Like, but 180 million, my God.
I don't know that this list is inflated. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Look, I can see that there's fighting in the chat again. We can talk about diversity hires, etc. I will tell you this, that in the industry at the moment, friend of mine who's working on a production, it's a very diverse production, very diverse crew. She has been in situations where she's been put in I would say a compromising position about who she has to choose for certain jobs, as opposed to picking the best person for the job. So to say that doesn't go on in the industry at the moment would be a lie, because it does go on, and I don't condone it. So it happens. Whether it happened on this show or not, who knows? Is it happening all the time? No, I don't think it is. Is this situation going to change? I think it is going to change. But there is, we have had people It takes a long time to become a good writer. It takes a long time to become a good director. None of those directors for this show didn't deserve to be there. All of these directors absolutely are qualified to direct a show of this caliber. They've directed far better shows than this. They can certainly direct an episode of The Acolyte, I would say, quite comfortably. So we've done a fair, and I think we've done a sort of a fairly fair and impartial.
You're a lot nicer than 99% of Twitter and YouTube.
So
comparatively.
Yeah, no one needs to be putting time out in the chat. Shush. So
yeah, there's nothing more.
I have to say, Leroy, I don't know a lot of straight white Christians myself. I do know a lot of white people. Most of them are not Christians. Huge percentage of them are not straight. And I'm not just talking about, by the way, just to be clear here, I'm not just talking about hires in the industry. When I was talking about my friend's experience, I'm not talking solely on the issue of race. I just want to be clear about that. But there are some agendas going on at the minute. There is a lot of box ticking happening. There are box ticking requirements to get shows commissioned for a lot of the major media platforms. That is well known in the industry at the moment. If you're going to pitch a show to somebody and it doesn't have this, this, and this, they're not interested. And I'll tell you that now that's a fact. It's a simple fact of life. Is it bad? Not necessarily. In fact, in some ways, it's very good that we're getting more variety. But to say that it's not happening is bollocks. It is happening. And you can argue the merits of the good and the bad on that. And I'm going to kind of stay in the middle there because, I work in this industry.
Let me let you know this. I spent all weekend watching 3 Lord of the Rings films with my kid, and those films are not what people would call diverse movies with the cast, but they're fantastic and they're legendary. They've
got a lot of what are the New Zealand warriors called? The Maori, ones who do the chants, the New Zealand All Blacks. The Maori, is it the Maori warriors? Somebody in chat tell me what they're called.
I'm not sure.
There's absolutely hundreds of them in Lords of the Rings, just so you know. Loads of them. Hundreds of them.
Yeah.
I'm not pronouncing the name correctly, and I'm amazed no one's picked up on and corrected me in the.
And so put down that chant again. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many.
Yeah. Well, we're going to wrap up shortly.
Yeah, we'll see what happens next week.
Maori, thank you. I said Maori. I thought it was Annie Hyde. Welcome to the stream, by the way. I've not seen you before. Thank you very much for popping on. I'm interested to know what people think of the Acolyte in the chat. We did have a voting poll. If you haven't taken part in the poll, please do. If you've seen episode 3 and you want to give it a rating out of 10, please do. What would you give it out of 10? Episode 3. Put your numbers in the chat now. Let's have a look at our poll. Our poll is currently running at 70%, 17%, 17 feel the Acolyte is at one with the Force. 83% feel it's firmly in the moon of dark anus. I don't know where I came up with that idea. Definitely wasn't me. Someone else did that. So, yeah, if you haven't voted, vote now. I'd also like to see numbers in the chat. What people... I didn't vote in the poll because I bailed after episode 2. You can vote in the poll based on the 2 episodes you've seen. No, you can give the show 0 if you want, but negative numbers are not allowed. 0 to 10. If you want to give it 0, you can. Toxic's giving it 0.5. Okay.
It's a number.
It's a number. Yeah, I'm trying to think. What would I give this? Okay, let me give it 1 for every positive. Jodie Turner-Smith acting very good. 1. Generally, the acting, not all, but generally the acting in the show was good. So that's 2. It's got some good production design and art direction elements. So I'll give it another 1 for that. 3. Okay, that leaves 7 points remaining. So of the 7 points remaining, we've got to knock 1 off for not enough setup. Might come in another episode, but it's not enough to date, and there's not enough here. 2 force powers that could have been used that would have resolved plot issues, therefore create big plot hole. No good. 3. What was that bollocks I talked about? Oh yeah, nonsense bollocks. Door not set up properly.
Stone fires.
Stone fires, bollocks. That's 4. So that's 4 points of bollocks so far.
Got chanting going on. Music.
Definitely -1 for the chanting. That's another minus. Stonefire, not properly explained deaths, etc. Might be explained later, but it all seems just naff. So that's 6. So that's 3 pluses, 6 negatives, 1 point up for grabs. Can I think of a plus or a negative to give it 4 out of 10 or 3 out of 10? I don't think I can give an extra plus point for Jodie Turner-Smith's hair because I'm already giving her a point.
My God.
Makeup kind of comes under production design, doesn't it? Really? So no, can't give it an extra 1 for makeup because I already said some makeup, production design, costume. Special effects, good or bad? Are they good or are they bad?
I mean, to their credit, there was a couple good set designs. The shots were nice when you first enter the planet. You see the POV shots.
Yeah, okay. I'd say overall the effects works decent. Yeah. Overall, there was proper horrible green screen in episode 2. All right.
What about the story?
So I give it. Oh, well, that's minus. Yeah, but that's -1 for plot. Yeah. That's a nice comment. This is why I enjoy your show, Lance. You bring the receipts, and
he's a good dude.
You say so, like some bigger shows. Yeah, okay. I give it. So my score for this episode is 4 out of 10.
Okay, that's generous.
I mean, there are some things I like about it, and I do like this story concept. I like this idea of it's a long time ago. Maybe some Jedi did some bad things. I don't have a problem with there being this all-female planet thing. The gay storyline is neither here nor there for me.
Yeah,
because it's not important to the grand scheme of, it's just 2 people that like people.
Because the whole Night Sisters, the Night Sister storyline would make sense to have them all females for that planet. That's not outside.
I wish they were Night Sisters. I probably. If I'm honest, I probably would have knocked off another point for the use of the terms witches and covens. But as you've reminded me, they've already used that in Star Wars. That's not the fault of this show. So, the basic plot. There's some good ideas here. There are some good ideas.
I agree.
They're just poorly executed, and it's just. I think. You've probably got 8 people in that writer's room, and then you've probably got actors maybe also tinkering with the dialogue. I don't know. Normally you'll have somebody on set on script and if it's if you're working on a big IT, that person needs to be a Nazi and say, nope, the line is blah, 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 blah. And there are all sorts of reasons why the line might need to be said exactly as written. So I feel that there's a lot of fingerprints on the scripts. lots of people saying it should be this, it should be this. And I have to admit, I overlooked some of the bad dialogue between the kids until we read the Forbes article, and I was looked back because I've only watched the episode once. I normally like to see things twice before I talk about them in depth.
That's why I'm reminding them when you were talking to I get in the background to just
So guys, let's talk about something more interesting. How about a quick preview of my super mega edit of A Bridge Too Far?
There you go.
So let me share my screen for a second. So for anyone who doesn't know, I'm going to put this on YouTube. It might not stay there very long, but it's going to go up. I'll do a timed announcement for it, I think. What I've done is I'm doing a mega edit of Bridge Too Far, but I'm with loads of new clips in that you won't have seen. Why won't you have seen these clips? It's because they're from other films. That's why. And I'm incorporating all of the shows that have ever covered anything on Operation Market Garden, and I've brought them into this super edit. So the film is currently 4.5 hours long, but it's not supposed to be short. It's supposed to be like this big mega edit of Bridge Too Far. I'm doing the titles at the minute because I've got to redo lots of titles. So for example, so yeah, this is Band of Brothers up here. In case anyone doesn't recognize that, they did an episode on Market Garden, of course. See if I can get this a bit bigger for you. There we go. And so I'm doing, I'm putting titles and stuff on bits, so that we get things coming up like this. And I'm doing the titles in the same font and color as the original Bridge Too Far titles.
Yeah.
So that it all looks and appears consistent, you know. If we let me just bring this up a bit. So if we go elsewhere in the timeline, for example, so like see, so we go from like this bit at the end of Band of Brothers. So if you watch this to this. And then you've got a title up there. Or I need to move that to the right slightly. That's a little bit. That's a little.
Definitely
See what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So yeah. So you got doing all this kind of stuff. I've got loads of stuff in it that's not in it originally. Also, some of the scenes are in a different order. There's even some actual footage from the actual stuff, like
yeah.
So hang on, if I go right back to the beginning, yeah, so you'll get stuff that'll cut from standard stuff from Bridge. This is purely for fun. Of course, this isn't going to be monetized or anything like that. It's purely for fun. I'm a massive fan of Bridge Too Far, but I've always wanted to do this kind of mega edit that incorporates everything. And this then cuts to the briefing with the 101st with this, and yeah, there's loads of stuff in here that's not in. You know, I've got all these other sequences of the flying from different films as well. So, you know, you go from a whole load of different shots from different movies, like these gliders on the tarmac from this, and then cutting to Winters here. All that text needs to be in a different. This needs to go in this box, otherwise it's not gonna. You're not gonna hear it. Yeah. So I've got the scene where they load up onto the Dakota for D-Day.
Yeah.
It's actually the scene in this narrative is the scene of them loading up onto the Dakotas for Market Garden, because I've cut it all differently, you see. So I'm able to use all this different stuff. Anyway, there you go.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So what editor software am I doing? I am using DaVinci. Yeah. And so who else is going to score the show? Come on, guys. We've only had one score here, which was, I've given it 4 out of 10. I think Darth Plato gave, oh no, we had Toxic's no, Desert Phoenix, sorry,
0.05.
And listen, guys, don't be hard on Leroy, man. He loves this show, and that's okay. I'm like all for. Listen, if you like it, if you're digging Acolyte and it's your jam and you're loving this show, great. That I'm happy that it's supplying your Star Wars, fix.
Yeah.
But it's not helping mine at the moment. Adrian Sherlock's here from all the way from Australia. Adrian's on my channel soon. He's coming on. Hang on, let me get the date. Adrian, I need a picture of you like holding your books or something similar. Send me that for the so I can use it as the picture for the stream. Adrian is coming on, I think it's towards the end of June 24th at 6 o'clock, slightly earlier, so that'll be like 1 p.m. East Coast.
Yeah.
Monday, because he's in Australia, so it's at a weird time. So Leroy gives it 10 out of 10. Okay, all right, thank you for that. I'm pretty sure that probably is his score.
Also from a plot standpoint, it's just like they're also rehashing in like a lazily way Anakin. I mean, because Anakin, was a child born from the Force, but it could be theorized that that was him balancing out the rise of Palpatine. But like him being like an immaculate conception also for Lucas is like a Jesus allegory.
Yeah.
But it's like, and this is and also Anakin was attached to his mother, didn't want to leave. Mom, I'll never see you again. All these plot points are in this episode. Mom, I'll never see you again. Mom, I don't want to leave home. I have no father. There's a twin, but still, it's like that's the exact same plot point as the Phantom Menace. No difference. Now they're created through evil space magic. But
yeah, yeah, it's
that's definitely why I could see some people having a problem with this. Like, Anakin was at least unique and special, because even like eventually Disney, of course, when Disney took over, they started going to the whole in the comic books. Oh, well, actually, Palpatine was manipulating the midichlorians to make Anakin. It's like that's not what Lucas intended when this was first being made. It's like Anakin was an allegory to being Christ or like something, but to balance out the Force created Anakin to balance out the Force. Now you're getting too ridiculous where you're having space witches and a coven and all right, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, at the end of the day, I'll give it my final judgment when we get to, are there 8? Have we got to watch 5 more of these?
Also, this episode had no lightsabers. I mean, you see a saber, but there's no fight. This is a pure dialogue scene episode, except for like maybe one fire scene. Nothing happens of any battles.
Yeah, there's no action really.
So it's even some more. So you blew 180 million to not even have any fight choreography in every episode and lightsabers.
Adrian has started on Disney Doctor Who. Good luck.
Oh boy,
I couldn't get through one episode of that, and I love Doctor Who. I actually like Ncuti Gatwa. I think he's a very talented actor, and I actually thought he was a good choice. I thought, yeah, because when Matt Smith was cast as Doctor, I was like, oh, he's a bit young, isn't he? And he's just been in Skins, and what's he going to bring to the role after David Tennant? He nailed it, man. He was great. I thought, yeah, okay, Nkuti's probably going to do a Matt Smith on me, but the scripts are just terrible. Here's one of Leroy's books, just because Leroy's been on my channel. He's a novelist. He's got several books out about the Wild West, and you might want to check those out if you like your westerns. He's published 3 books in the last few weeks, so he's done pretty good. Don't know that I can write that many that fast. Do the Jedi have a special victims unit? Dung dung. Oh yeah, do you know what? That'd be fun. We should do a Jedi special victims unit, like edit.
Oh God.
You know, like edit the titles and do it with the music and everything, and
Yeah.
so have like Qui-Gon Jinn going da, 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 thing, and then cut to them all like sort of standing together going all of that. That'd be fun. That'd be a fun. So we got 12 people watching. Thanks very much for tuning in. Several regulars, several new people. Thanks for Tony Cater for popping in again. When are you going to come on and talk about American History X? I want you to come on. If you haven't already, please check out the other content. The industry interviews are excellent. There's lots of them. There's more coming. I just confirmed Lawrence Monason, you pronounce his name, not Monsoon. I always called him Lawrence Monsoon. It's Monason. He is coming on for an interview on July the 3rd. And if you don't know who he is, those of you who are around my age will probably remember a film called Mask with Cher, which I think she got nominated for an Oscar for. Lawrence Monason was in that film, but he's had a substantial career of television and theatre credits. He was also the main guy in the film The Last American Virgin, if you remember that, which is one of those kind of terrible teenage. There he is on the right. Anyway, he's done loads of film and television, been around for a long time. I'm very interested to hear what his trials and tribulations of his career have been. He's also done Star Trek Enterprise. There he is in Star Trek Enterprise. So he's coming on 3rd of July. Just booked him.
Nice.
Traumatized you as a kid, Dan. You got to come on to that, Dan, so you can tell him that. Yeah. So, Chris, you got anything you want to promote before we wrap up?
Just said, hopefully I'm gonna have it done, Lance. So you'll be the first one to know. My House of Dragon video is gonna be done. I got 40 minutes done out of an hour. I'm trying to finish it by Saturday morning for House of Dragon with you. And that's my current project because people
good, man. I'm rewatching season 1 of House of Dragon right now.
That's all I just been like on my computer because people tend to forget you may see a 1 hour video. I'm looking at 2.5 weeks of me spending 10 hours in this chair. So I'm trying to finish it.
I'm just wondering how late I can stay up tonight. Let me just check the diary. What have I got on tomorrow? What's that? One of my friends is getting married in Slovenia tomorrow. Secret of Nim. That's tonight, isn't it?
Oh yeah, you're right. That's good. Actually, and tomorrow we're doing Demon Slayer, which is a fantastic anime. But
I've got to jump on Secret of Nim now.
Yeah, I'll see Gooch tomorrow. So.
Okay, right. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up there.
We'll see you Sunday too.
We did 2 hours on this. I said we are going to do half an hour. We did 2 hours. We did 2 hours on this show.
It's super production. That's why the $180 million money laundering.
Oh yeah, we broke the budget down, so I guess we covered a lot of stuff. So, guys, that's it from us. I think we're going to leave you with a science fiction themed exit. Take care. Come back on Sunday for Band of Brothers. We're going to do House of Dragon on Monday. That's it. I'm not doing anything else over the weekend because I'm going to an all-day rave on Saturday. So we'll see you all again soon.
intent on ruining our lives. Let's find a safe space and try and last the night. If you listen to me, you know we might just escape with our lives.
Taking it to task, got my trusty shotgun and a can of Webb-ass. Pensacola feeling, I got something to say. I'm gonna save the world, I'm gonna save it today. Oh yeah, let's go save the world, boys. Grab your guns and your ammo. What's that? We're out of ammo? Flamethrowers will do. Too nice. There.